All right, we last left off discussing Wireshark, and I was just about to touch on the topics of filters and how we can use a protocol analyzer to help us in testing our network and seeing exactly what type of packets are flowing through our network. We can also use a protocol analyzer to grab packets that users may not want us to see and have access to, but unfortunately, if they're not encrypting their traffic, that traffic is available and can be reassembled in a readable format, and we'll look at some of that. So this is the interface we started off with last week. We'll click on interface buttons up here, and here's a list of our interfaces. I've just narrowed down my interfaces to just show the one. I'll click on options. I'll select this. Once again, if I click on manage and I go, there are more interfaces, but none of these are actually useful for me capturing right now, so I don't want to see them, so I check them and just tell the system to hide those. Keeps it a little bit cleaner. All right, I can check that off. Now, once again, if you want to capture packets, you want to make sure that this is checked. It is checked by default. Use promiscuous mode on all interfaces. You may have to enable promiscuous mode on your physical interface if this is a real box. And if it's the virtual machine, and let's say we have our little network set up and we're trying to capture packets between two VM hosts, what we need to do is go to network and make sure that on all the hosts that are on the particular LAN, and as you can see right now, mine's not on a LAN, I'll be switching it over in a minute, but on a LAN, we want to make sure that allow all VMs promiscuous mode or allow all promiscuous mode. By default, I think it starts out with deny, and so you want to make sure that that part's changed if you want to test it in your network, your virtual network. All right, so we'll take that one for right now. And we were just about to start discussing capture filters the last time, and remember I mentioned that most of the time you will want to capture all the traffic because you're really not sure what you're looking for most of the time, and then you want to filter through that traffic using display filters. That's true, but there will be times where you definitely will want to filter out certain traffic. Two filters that I typically create are ones that filter just for my MAC address, so only communication with the device that I am currently at. And the other one that I use is not my MAC address. Create both of those. I'll show you how you can do it easily. Right now there are a handful, more than a handful, a few different filters already configured for us. And if I click on that, what we see right here is the name of the filter, and that's the actual command. That's the filtering string that's down there. Well, if I want to make this so that it's only capturing traffic from the computer I'm currently at and I'm not seeing everything else, I can create a My Mac Only filter on here, and it's easy to do. All you would have to do is, first of all, you would highlight the filter you want, click New. That will put a copy of that filter down at the bottom. So all I want to do is change this, so I'll just say it's my Mac. And I want to then get my MAC address. I get that by doing an ifconfig here. Now, since I'm logged in as Jane running this, if I type ifconfig at this point and press enter, it comes back and says ifconfig is not found. The reason it's saying that is because Jane's path does not contain sbin/sbin. So you have two ways to get around this. You can run the Wireshark in the background, that's running as Jane, and I can then type out the full path to whatever command that I want. So in this case it's sbin, ifconfig. So once I put in the /sbin, then all of a sudden ifconfig shows up. The other thing you can do is just sudo into su dash like that, and then I'll have a terminal that's open with complete root access. Either way works. But what I really want for right now is just this MAC address, because that's the MAC address of my interface, and I'm going to copy that. I'll minimize this. I'll come back in here. This is the actual command, and so what I want to do is Control V that. That is my MAC address, and click OK. Now I will only capture MAC traffic addressed to that MAC address. Once again, this might be a situation where you want to make sure that you're on a host that you think there's a problem with this particular host, and you don't want to see everybody else's traffic. You just want to make sure I'm seeing all the traffic that's directed to my interface on this host. That would be one. The other one is, let's say we're capturing lots of traffic and we don't want to see our own traffic. So I've got a tap on the wire. I'm capturing tons and tons of information. I'm also surfing the web, looking up things, doing stuff myself on my own laptop, and I don't want to see any of my traffic. So this is a perfect one. We can take this one and click New again. Highlight it, click New. Now there it is. And what we can do is go over here and say, not my Mac. And then down here, we just put the word not. And what that will do is it'll allow me to capture traffic from everybody else, but not my own traffic, which is nice because you don't want to just be cluttering it up, especially if you're bouncing around doing things. So I'll click that. But let's just go test this not my Mac before we get into that. All right, so right now what we're seeing is traffic on the network that is directed to other devices. So anything that's on here, and we can prove that it's not picking up my information by coming out here, and I'll ping 8.8.8.8. Now, if I'm seeing anything, I'm going to see ICMP packets coming back in here. So let's ping, and I'm going to filter on ICMP while we're doing that. So this is I can filter real time. So this is a live capture scrolling off the screen. I can then hit a display filter for only ICMP packets. Click apply. And as you can see down here, we're pinging away, but we see nothing coming in the capture window, display window, because the capture filter is filtering out anything directed towards my MAC address and allowing me to see everything else. So I'll stop this now, get out of that. So that's a useful one. And then we can just clear out, this is the display filter, which is what you will typically use when trying to filter traffic. I'll clear this out. And you can see it's still capturing in the background. Now I can stop this capture. I can stop this capture, and I can save this to a file. I can save it to a file, but until I do that, this is all live. So when I close this, I'm going to lose it.